Do you feel like you're just going through the motions in life? This podcast is for you. A while back, I felt just like you. It wasn't until I heard that whisper in the wind, Nadine, learn to podcast. Now I'm on a journey of discovery, interviewing others who have also leaped into the unknown. I'm Nadineo, creator of the Over 50 You Are Not Done Yet show, a podcast about personal awakenings, spiritual connections, and stories of joy. Shall we begin?
I believe that unmourned grief is probably one of the biggest causes of dis-ease,
Yeah.
mental, emotional, and physical. So to be able to be with oneself, especially this is very important during this pandemic. A lot of people aren't able to be with themselves.
Yeah.
And healing art, no matter what that is, it could be visual, it could be movement, it can be gardening, it can be cooking, it can be anything that's creative that brings some beauty or comfort or goodness into your life or the life of other people as well. So for me, because I'm a visual artist, one of the first places I went to was journaling, writing. I've been journaling for many, many years. So both my writing and images just really helped me.
Today I'm sitting down with actor, artist, coach, and massage practitioner Carol Ann Graham. Join us as we talk about finding connection, grief, the COVID-19 pandemic, going within, and healing art. Shall we begin? Who is Carol Ann Graham? And I say that
That's funny.
because as we get older, our definitions change and how we see ourselves. So, how do you see yourself? How do you describe yourself? Who are you today?
I feel silly today, and I feel buoyant. I think the performance that I did last night with playback theater on Zoom during the pandemic was so meaningful and connected people from all over the country, and it was a really great accomplishment. So I feel very much lighter than I felt for a while. So that's going to be my answer for now.
And now, what is this thing you did in Zoom? You said it was
It's
the.
called playback theater.
Mhm.
It's I think it was started in the 70s. It's new to me, although I'm an improvisational actor, as one of the things I do. This is a form that is specifically for the audience to tell a story and the actors to play it back with a conductor and a musician. It's usually live, and the person gets to be heard and felt and seen, and it's a really cool way to connect. We just did it on Zoom last night.
And how was it doing something that is usually done in the physical presence of other people? Now you're doing it on Zoom.
First off, I'm grateful that we can do it at all, because I'm grateful for technology, because so many people are feeling isolated and disconnected and um, emotionally distraught, even if they don't even acknowledge that. Um, it's a difficult time, obviously. So the fact that we had technology that allowed us to creatively play and truly play back these stories, and the stories that were told were, some of them were heartbreaking stories, and the struggles that people are going through as teachers and counselors and just parents and everything. So at the end, the woman who is the head of Small Change Interactive, that's the theater group out of Indianapolis, she asked the participants how they felt afterwards. And Oh, it was just so wonderful. I can't, they were inspired and impressed to do more of this type of thing. So I think that it's giving people some hope.
For those who may be playing this 6 months from now, the real issue, the reason why we have to do Zoom is because of COVID-19 pandemic, causing us all to be in a stay-at-home kind of position. How has that changed your life?
Certainly the work that I was doing ongoing with, I'm a massage practitioner. I've been a massage practitioner for 30 years. So not seeing my clients for a couple of months, that was one of the, I guess, biggest tugs on my heart, since there are people that I see every week that I'm very much a part of their lives. And um, I would even, joke with my one client, because I saw her on Sunday, I would call it massage church. It was such a mind, body, spirit connection. And so I missed that the most. I actually, because I've had a lot of grief in my life in the past couple of years, I had been withdrawing from general society for a while. So I'm 100% prepared for this type of
Mm.
thing. I had been doing my own personal healing art. Um, I'm a performing and a visual artist, so I've been doing a lot of visual art really for the past 6 years, since there's been a lot of loss over the past 6 years. And I was going deeper and deeper in. So I have been journeying inward for a while. So I was kind of like, wow, does that mean I don't have to go out? Does that mean I have to interact with people like the general public? Because I
Mhm.
found it very frantic. It was getting more and more frantic, it seemed, over just even in this past decade. So I was prepared for this.
More with Carol Ann Graham coming up. You talk about healing art.
I did mention that, yes.
How did you get into healing art?
I have to give you a little bit about my background. So both my parents had been actors, and they transitioned into being suburbanites, much to my mother's chagrin. She and my father were very creative and encouraged us in our creativity. So I found in my early years of middle school, high school, that both theater and art really helped me feel alive. And I continued to pursue both of those things in college I decided to major in acting and did like a minor in art. And my art, a visual art part of it, was always for myself. I I found myself up in the middle of the night, I would create, and I didn't really ever consider myself to be as fantastic of an artist as some of my artist friends. So I did it for myself. I made everything from pottery to drawing to whatever. So I have to jump a bunch of years from then to well, so about the visual art, I would feel very disconnected when I didn't paint, like for a long period of time, or when I didn't do something. I found this amazing workshop through a massage practitioner that was it locally. And I took this workshop in 2000, around 2000, 2001, and everything just poured out of me, like life itself was on
Mhm.
the paper and coming back into me. And I had this amazing, like a spiritual experience. And so very different than the spiritual experience I had when I was 19, where I felt that I had my first spiritual awakening.
Mhm.
It was different, and it was personal, and it was rich and creative. So I think that's when I started to really understand that art was something that was connected to my soul and my spirit. And then I
Mm.
started painting more from that place. So that was how many years ago was that? That's 20 years ago already. My goodness sakes. Anyway, so for the past 20 years, that is the way that I painted. And I would sometimes use words on my paintings, something that a lot of people do now, but sometimes I would paint over them, but I would paint with intention. Maybe it was to love myself. or to have peace, or to have passion, or to be released, different things like that, that I was going through in my 30s, 40s, whatever. So then 6 years ago, there's actually a book that came out called Healing with the Arts.
Yeah.
And that book was really instrumental in helping me to understand myself better. Sometimes I felt not integrated. Like, I'm an actor,
Mhm.
I do this over here. I'm a massage practitioner, I do this over there. I test medical students as, an actor. And I felt disjointed when I realized that, oh, I'm an artist and I'm a healer. And I can
Mhm.
bring that into every aspect of my life. Then things started to make a little bit more sense. And as I've gotten older, I feel like, oh, it's all going to really gel more with everything that I'm doing. So
Was there a something that happened to really um, change the trajectory of doing things in terms of healing with the arts or using art to heal?
I think the amount of loss, I think grief.
Mhm.
Um,
It's hard.
yeah, I think losing, people very close to me, my mother, my dog, my husband, my beloved dog, my sister,
Hmm.
his father, his stepfather, his sister. I mean, all like in a very short amount of time. Um,
Hmm.
I realized that our society doesn't really have just one way of dealing with grief. Like, there are certain societies and certain, indigenous people, or they have rituals, they have, you know, even, well, some people do like Shivas, the Jewish community has a Shiva. There's rituals that are needed to help us grieve. But I find in the United States, I don't live in other places, but there's just so many different people groups that there isn't just one way. And so some people are just like, suck it up, just get on with it, and then other
Right.
people, I mean, we all need time to grieve.
Mm.
I believe that's a really important thing. In fact, I believe that unmourned grief is probably one of the biggest causes of dis-ease,
Yeah.
mental, emotional, and physical. So to be able to be with oneself, especially, this is very important during this pandemic. A lot of people aren't able to be with themselves.
Yeah.
And healing art, no matter what that is, it could be visual, it could be movement, it can be gardening, it can be cooking, it can be anything that's creative, that brings some beauty or comfort or goodness into your life, or the life of other people as well. So for me, because I'm a visual artist, one of the first places I went to was journaling, writing. I've been journaling for many, many years. So both my writing and images just really helped me. Sometimes it
Mhm.
was playful, like I was a little child with watercolor, and that helped me bring me to my little girl self, who might, have been really feeling sad, and just being okay with that, like, to be okay just the way we are. And I think as adults, we don't often know how we feel because we have all these things put on top of it, like we're supposed to be responsible. We may have children, go around. I don't have children, but a lot of people around me do. So I do understand what it is to be a responsible adult. And sometimes we need to be able to get in touch with that, whatever our child, the whole inner child thing. But it really is the pure feeling. Like, what are we feeling? What are we going through right now? And giving ourselves that time and
Mhm.
space. And sometimes, if we're actually doing something, it helps us to go into the silence. It helps
Mhm.
us to slow down. Some people can just sit and meditate, and that's good too. It's good to do.
Sure.
Healing art is actually a form of meditation, a way of
Mhm.
slowing down, going into internal, into the silence.
You're listening to the Over 50 You Are Not Done Yet show. One of the things that really made me want to bring you on the show is I had the luxury of knowing you through a coworker of mine, and I was going through some things, and I wanted to um, try something new, to start a podcast. And I had heard that you had done voice acting. Your husband talked of you fondly, and I said, I need to meet you. And from that point on, it's been a wonderful journey. And you've even brought me into the fold with healing with the arts, and walked me through a few programs. And I just thought, now, this time right now, there's so many people out there that would benefit from um, your guidance, sharing what you've discovered and how you are now working through and putting together things to walk people through rediscovering their inner child, which I just think is just so beautiful, especially using um, a lot of the material that you have found along the way. And would you tell us a little bit about what you are now, putting together?
So it started about a month into the pandemic. This place where I test medical students, it's the job that I have is called a standardized patient, where we actually portray patients so that medical students can prove that they know how to deal with real people. And this is an organization that someone in their HR said, "Oh, I heard that you do healing art. Would you make a video for us for our wellness program?" And I'm like, "Okay." A very personal, my healing art is very, very personal. I don't normally, I share it with people that I coach, or I share it with very close friends. It is not something I usually put out to the world. But something inside of me resonated as a big yes. Yes, I will make a video. And not only will I just make a video for the company, I'm just going to put it on YouTube. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to publish it on YouTube. Uh, Healing art for wellness. I think session one. So I haven't even made session two yet, but I did make session one. And I kept it very simple, because if people are going to start a healing art practice, then I believe it's really good to connect. When we were kids, what do we like to do?
Mhm.
And everyone has something different. Or even my brother, who watched it, who's an amazing teacher, dancer, actor, choreographer, he said, "Yeah, almost me. I, I don't consider myself to be a visual artist, but it was, making me want to paint a rock or do something of that nature." So I kept it really, really simple. Some of the things that I do that are um, rock painting, just simple watercolors, making little vision cards, things of this nature that are very, very simple, very pleasurable, don't require a lot of money, images from magazines, making things that are just fun and playful. And
Mhm.
to start there, um, for your own joy, for one's own joy, not, oh, look, I'm an artist. I made, that is more coming from an ego place, of which is it's difficult to navigate. But if we can really just say, hey, I'm doing this 100% for my own pleasure, like start there, just start there. And so I published that, I think it's almost a month ago, and I realized that it is important that we serve. And I really have a strong desire to serve humanity, and have felt that I haven't really quite, like, oh, I have to do more, especially
Mhm.
in the political climate, the the world, and the polarization that's going on. I have such a
Mhm.
desire for there to be more unity, for there to be more respect for all people and animals and the earth. And um, to segue back to how you and I know I'm we'll answer one question at a time, but just you and I, because we connected, I'm thinking it was how many years ago? Do you know?
2015, 2016?
Okay, so it feels like a lot more than 5 years that I've known you. It
Mhm.
really does, because what we've done in that 5 year period has been more close and intimate that most people who just casually know each other over 25 years. You've shared your thoughts and dreams and goals. When we first met, I remember interviewing you
Yes.
as to what it was that you wanted to do with your your voice and your life. Then we started to create the film, How to Raise Your Mother, and you're actually coaching me because you're an editor
Yeah.
in some steps that I'm still taking to create that. And these are all things that I'm doing, all these projects that I'm doing now are integrated. So
Mhm.
the film is also going to have a thread of healing art through it and the importance of it for a character. And that's where I was, how I had mentioned before, things are oh yeah, things are starting to get more integrated now it's like, oh, I'm doing this thing over there and that thing over there. So now my healing art, all right, sure, I'll put some stuff up on YouTube. And I know a lot of the younger people in my life, my nieces, they throw up daily, like, oh, I'm doing a 30-day photography challenge. My niece Zoe Virginia Curry Photography, plug up for her. She's amazing and very inspiring to me. And
Mhm.
so this is where I feel like the healing art that I've just been throwing out there to my people. Oh, I'm always going to buy you art supplies. Oh, like my nieces, I used to buy their art for $1 and told them, you're an artist,
Mhm.
this is a beautiful piece of art and this is something to be honored. And here's $1, if you, and they were going to, like, either you can give it to your mother or you can give it to me for $1.
Did you subscribe yet? What are you waiting for? Subscribe. Go ahead. Just click that button. Thank you.
So anyway, I feel like a lot of these things that are going on in my life, some of the projects that I have, has to do with me getting out there more.
Mhm.
I've been very inward, and now the spirit is tugging at me
Mhm.
to,
It's time.
yes,
It's
like,
time.
so this interview is one of those things where, believe it or not, I don't really like talking about myself too much.
No.
No, I really don't.
Well, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
I know there's one project that is in progress, and it's one that I have worked on with you. What is How to Raise Your Mother about?
How to Raise Your Mother is a short film that was born when my mother, my actual biological mother, was struggling with her health at the end of her life. She was in her 80s. And I come from a very large family. I'm one of 8 children. And each one of us was doing something for her. We've grown to be very close and spiritually, really loving and forgiving, and it's amazing. And we did so well in taking care of my mom together. And I was her massage practitioner a little bit, but then she wasn't even able to really enjoy massages. And I'm like, what can I do for my mom? And my
Mhm.
mom, having was an actor, she returned to acting after she had all her children, like when she was about 50, in her 50s. So there you go. Had a whole new start when she was in her 50s. So very inspirational to me. And I thought, what would make my mom the happiest? And that's put a camera in front of her face. If you put a camera in front of Ginny Graham's face, she would light up. So it was a whole like a landslide of creativity that was occurring about 5 years ago when you, Nadine, and I met, and we were both had goals and dreams and desires, and then we encouraged each other and fanned the flames for each other's projects. And you were very much instrumental in even me getting some of the amazing scenes shot. And now, then my mom passed in 2016, so it was impossible for me to finish the film the way I had intended it, which was about healing, which was about mother-daughter, specifically a mother and a daughter that were just so different than each other that they just could not just love each other. And the whole point of the film was an arc,
Mm.
mother to daughter, daughter to mother. That was not going to be able to happen without the mother being alive. And I shot as much as I could. I mean, I went into hospitals and she would still let me shoot. She'd be laying there in the emergency room. I'd still be shooting. Hey, mom, gotta get stuff done for the film. Or she'd be like, why? She was ready to go. So she was like, why am I still here? And I said, because the film's not done yet. So it was a beautiful, beautiful experience that I had with her right up to the end, where I felt connected with her in real life. Now, when she was gone, I was left with all this footage that didn't quite tell the story. And I kept thinking that I could tell the story with what I had, but then I just, every time I would go to complete it, it was like I felt stopped, like I didn't have the full picture. I had to wait. So I put it on the back burner, did a lot of other things, other healing art things. And then through this pandemic, I was just reinvigorated in so many ways. One, with the playback theater. So I was reinvigorated as an actor, like, wow, there's something I can do on Zoom or, a social platform that can help people wherever they are. And then I started thinking about completing the film in that same spirit of, hey, this is the main character who I play is someone who is going through the pandemic. So
Jenny Graham is your mother's name. And she is also featured in one of our episodes called Stay in the Moment. If you want to get a sense of who she was, and that the fact that, yes, you were talking about her being in the hospital, but she's an actor. And the camera would come on and she would go into character. No matter what was going
it was
on, she
amazing.
would go into character, which is like when you think about how we live our moments, the value of those moments, even though parts of her were failing,
Mm.
know, that she was still giving of herself. So definitely check out Stay in a Moment with Jenny Graham on our website at over50youarenotdoneyet.com. Like what you hear? Subscribe, like, and share this with your friends and family. Much appreciated. With everything that is going on right now with the coronavirus pandemic, what advice do you have for folks who are at a stay at home place and have maybe lost their jobs, have lost loved ones due to the virus, and they weren't able to be there for their transitioning? What advice do you have for them?
Well, first, beyond advice, I just want to say I'm just very moved right now at how much we're all dealing with
Yeah.
as humans. And so I think that the most important thing is that we reach out where we can and get support I just watched Taraji Henson, I believe she has there's different people. I just watched it last night. She has a foundation or something where she's helping people get free mental health counseling, for instance. So I think that wherever we can find connection, um, some people are okay to go within, and then I would tell those people just slow down, because a lot of people, some people are going into full force, like, oh, I don't have a job, I have to redirect, I have to. I've been a little bit
Mm.
like that, I'm not employed right now. Oh, and I have to do more. And I found for myself I needed to just slow down, do some healing art, Carol. Like, just try not to put so much pressure on yourself. But the people that you mentioned that are grieving, and I know I've just gone through a long time of grief, you just need to just be, but you need to find some ways of supporting your mind, body, and spirit. So anything that you can do for your own wellness and connection. And there are a lot of people that are creating content
Mm. Mhm.
online, free content. And if you have some way of getting online, then there's all kinds of creative people out, music, concerts, podcasts. People are doing free workshops. So just being willing to get a little bit out of your comfort zone, maybe finding grief groups. I mean, there's all kinds of people that are finding their tribe within the big tribe of humanity.
When you mention about healing art, doing healing art, well, what if that person doesn't feel like an artist? You know, um, maybe they're 65, maybe they're 35, and they're very technical, but you know, painting or drawing isn't something that they feel comfortable expressing themselves. What advice, or what's a simple thing that they could do to help um, open themselves up or release some of that energy?
So art is not just visual. Art is also music and movement, cooking or gardening. So I just actually took a wonderful using your voice as medicine workshop online. And so maybe singing, maybe just finding a way of getting some of the energy flowing in our bodies, movement. There's a 5-minute Tai Chi thing that I like to do on YouTube that just gets us into a flow of movement. Um, Putting on a good song, just dancing to it. Again, it's allowing that child self, that inner happy, or it doesn't have to be happy, that inner whatever you're feeling, uh, to be able to be expressed and not get stuck. Because what happens with all of our anxiety that we're all, most everyone is
Mhm.
feeling, um, it constricts. So we have to find, even just putting our hands up over our head and taking a deep breath, just breathing. Aromatherapy. It's springtime in the northeast of USA where I am, and it is beautiful. The lilacs and smells, or just looking at a plant, just looking at it, or maybe photographing it, finding little ways to spark
Mm.
joy, just little things. Everyone's an artist because we're appreciators. We've been created by a creator. We're creators. We're made in the image of a creator. So we are all artists. It's only just somebody that told you that you weren't when you were younger, probably, or that it wasn't useful, or some other. If you can locate what that thought is, maybe journaling, maybe stream of consciousness writing, of like, Am I an artist? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Mm.
Check. And then if yes, why? If no, why? And you could probably come up with some voice that told you either that you were a wonderful artist or an artist, or that you weren't. And then it's really just important to find out who you are from spirit. That's what I would say.
What do you think is your purpose? Why are you here?
The most simple answer I would give is to learn to love, to love. And I said learn first because I think that's the highest calling for any of us, uh, to love. Some people are easy to love. I mean, it's learning to love ourselves, learning to love others, um, understanding that God is love. That's that's it. That's what I would say.
Okay, I'm going to say a word, and I would like for you to say whatever comes to mind.
Good idea.
And that'll be a fun way to close the interview.
Okay. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to
Jo-
take a deep breath and make sure I'm.
you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Joy,
Happiness,
light,
spirit,
butterflies.
healing.
Beautiful. So much fun chatting with you today. And I look forward to you revisiting us here so that we could talk more about healing and art and growing, what we do in the second stage of our lives, how we can continue to nurture our mind and our body and our spirit.
It's been wonderful and an honor for me as well. Love and light to you and to all who are listening.
Thank you for taking a little time out of your day to spend with me and my friend Carol. I hope this episode inspires you to find a way to sprinkle a little more joy in your life. So dance, sing, hum, draw, write, plant, play music, whatever tickles your fancy. Just do it. If you have some time, leave a comment or shoot me an email. I'd love to hear what's going on with you. My name is Nadineo, and you've been listening to the Over 50 You Are Not Done Yet show.